Welcome to part 5 of our series on tax credit properties like Rittenhouse Square in Los Angeles. This part is a series of questions to the Honorable Senator Dianne Feinstein of California. Senator, as you know, the Tax Credit Allocation Committee of California under Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and Director V.wmv has said in an email that there are many people concerned with the problems at Thomas Safran Associates Properties and the questions concerning Thomas Safran's non-compliance. Many, M-A-N-Y, many concerns. And that, to me, Senator says, it's a widespread problem. Congress passed a law in 1986 giving millions of dollars to the states to set up tax credit apartment properties. Certainly you're aware of that, Senator. Recently, President Obama helped pass legislation giving millions of dollars more to the states for tax credit apartment properties and the funding of those properties. Are you aware of that legislation, Senator? Do you have an opinion as to that legislation, Senator? Now, on the screen before you, Senator, there is a definition of the word sporadic. Do you agree with that definition? Do you agree that such definition should apply to all tax credit apartment properties? Thomas Safran Associates receives tax credits and millions of dollars in construction funds. Thomas Safran owns and manages about 4,000 apartments across California. They received monies from over 7 different government agencies, including the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee, the California Department of Housing and Community Development, California Housing Finance Agency, and the Bank of America. Senator, as previously requested and you haven't responded to it, can you please provide us with a list of names of the agencies, of the government agencies, and the dollar amount of what they supplied in funding to Rittenhouse Square, Los Angeles? Now, HUD has said that public housing authorities and other tax credit apartment properties must not include sporadic income in the calculation of annual income. And of course, Senator, on the screen in front of you is 24 CFR 5.609, which is the federal regulation which says that sporadic income has to be excluded or not included in the calculation of income. And that is the regulation that the state compliance agency, which is under V.wmv, that's the regulation that his agency has to follow when he gives out the money to the properties like Thomas Safran Associates, and he has to tell them this is the regulations you have to go under. I'm not making this up, Senator. It's on the Tax Credit Allocation Committee's website. Just put in to your search engine Tax Credit Allocation Committee if you're in California, and that committee's website will come up. HUD has said on their various websites that go out on a national basis that overtime that does not occur on a regular basis must not be included. So HUD has made a distinction here and said on their website in writing, and I've asked HUD various officials to verify is their website still correct. I haven't gotten any response from about 15 different HUD officials. They haven't called me, they haven't written me, they haven't done anything. So that kind of tells you what's going to happen with the healthcare industry when the public has a response to a problem. But it says on their website that if overtime occurs on a regular basis, it gets included in the annual income calculation. If the overtime occurs on an irregular basis and it's not predictable and it's not anticipated, it does not get included. Now, Senator, what's your opinion of these regulations? I think we've sent you about maybe 15-20 pages of documents Instead of stating your opinion, you just kind of like took the documents and shifted them over to someone else who they didn't do anything with them either. So HUD has said, on the other hand, that public housing authorities and tax credit apartment properties must have their own definition of temporary, non-recurring, or sporadic income. Now, don't you think, Senator, that this policy, a federal policy, as you are a state senator, but a federal government agent, I believe, don't you think, Senator, that this policy could promote discrimination, and that properties might have one definition that applies to blacks and another different definition that applies to whites, if they're allowed to have their own definition of what is temporary, sporadic, or non-recurring income? Do you have an opinion, Senator, on why properties like Thomas Safran Associates of Brentwood, California, Rittenhouse Square of Los Angeles, and Urban Futures of Tustin, California are allowed to not exclude temporary, non-recurring, or sporadic income? Urban Futures is a company that supposedly monitors thousands of apartments across the state of California. They have done so for so many years now. And apparently, Urban Futures doesn't follow HUD regulations either. Why are they in business, I ask, Senator? Do you have an opinion, Senator, as to what should be done to these properties or other entities that are not complying with HUD regulations? Do you have an opinion on the Internal Revenue Service reclaiming the tax credits of Thomas Safran Associates based on their widespread admitted pattern and practice to not comply with state and federal tax credit property regulations? The State Tax Allocation Committee has said they will not investigate complaints from black applicants to tax credit properties, even though their website says they are the compliance authority over tax credit properties. What is your opinion, Senator? Wouldn't you agree that this is just a bunch of baloney from the Tax Credit Committee? We think, for the sake of all those citizens who apply, including the physically and mentally challenged, African Americans, families, seniors, and others, tax credit apartments across the country should be monitored immediately today for their HUD compliance, including all Thomas Safran properties across California. Senator, do you have an opinion? Do you support such immediate action to force compliance for all apartment properties across the country? Do you support the payment of damages to all applicants who will not treat it in accordance with state and federal regulations? Senator, we await your opinion.